much. Ray Hartley, former editor of the Sunday Times, has written a book called Ragged Glory, The Rainbow Nation in Black and White. Well, Ray, as I told you off air, I got a little depressed here because it is so well researched. It's almost like you've poured your life and everything else into this book. Maybe let's just pick it up there. You can. Okay, there we go. See it? There it is on screen. And however, a little bit depressing as well, because when you unpack the last 20 years from the Madiba dream to where we are today, it's quite a sad story in some respects.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is an inevitable, the inevitable collapsing of a dream into reality, because it was a miracle transition, as it's been described. And that can only last for so long, and then you're in reality, and you've got to make policy choices, and you've got to make decisions about how you approach corruption. And each and every one of those decisions has consequences. And I think that's one of the things that's happened over the last 20 years, is that politicians and leaders haven't understood that all of the small movements they make and decisions they make about approaching these issues have consequences. They play out over many years. I think, for example, when Sarafina II took place under Nelson Mandela, his health minister signed off a play for 14 million, didn't follow any procedure, and was dragged over the coals by Parliament. And there and then, Nelson Mandela could have said, we're not going to be that kind of country. You're fired. We don't do it this way. And the message would have been loud and clear, and a direction would have been charted. But instead, the decision was taken to protect the minister and to quiet down the parliamentary inquiry, and a minor official was, shafted.
Sure.
And the message is loud and clear to the politicians and everybody watching.
And you've had a front row seat here.
Yeah.
Just your own career. You've been a journalist, I suppose, pretty much from the day dot, but running the biggest newspaper in South Africa. I mentioned to the lady who was here a bit earlier that as a journalist, one sees the whole spectrum, but you only get to publish a small part of it because you can't confirm the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I guess the unconfirmed stuff that you've been seeing must be quite scary. Have you put much of that in the book?
Yeah, I think some of it. I mean, again, it has to be confirmed for it to be, it's still in writing. You're putting it down in writing, so I'm pretty sure, I've got to be pretty sure of my facts and what I've written. I think because there isn't a South African narrative. We have the little bits of the stories and there's the Mandela thing, but what is the narrative thread? What is the story of the political economy of this country and the way that it's unfolded? These things are all linked together and they all flow one from the other. And the absence of that story, I think, makes us a poorer country. So I'm trying to contribute something towards that, to actually say, hang on, this is how it unfolded. This is how we've ended up where we are. It's not an accident. It's not something that happened over the last year. We have developed this way because of the way our politics has unfolded.
We took decisions, we did not understand the consequences, and we are living with them today. But you do try and put in some kind of an upbeat in your last page where you mentioned Judge Cameron, Edwin Cameron.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's, the title of the book is Ragged Glory. So there is still,
Why did you choose
there
that?
is the glory. Let's not forget that we've abandoned apartheid, that we've unified the country, we've got rid of the homelands, that people have the vote, that we have institutions like the public protector, like the judiciary, that we never had before. We have a very vibrant media, all of those things. There is the glory, but it's getting ragged. It's getting challenged, it's getting undermined by very powerful people who could potentially in the future drag us down and unravel what was done under the democratic era.
But that upbeat message that Edwin Cameron said,
I think it's that our institutions are there, that they stand firm. Just this last week, the official opposition was given the right to see the spy tapes, and it may lead to a judicial prosecution ultimately of the president. That is still happening. We mustn't think that there is nothing standing up for democracy, for the Constitution, and for the direction that we chose in 1994.
There is kickback. and the kickback from the politicians for, I suppose, rational reasons, but those institutions, as you say, hold firm. What about the Ray Hartley, the person who goes home at night and thinks about the country that he's raising his children in? Are you still happy to be here? Are you happy that you'll see your grandkids?
Yes, I am. I mean, I am positive. I believe that we have an institutional framework and a constitution that will not allow this country to fail. I think that we also have the national spirit of sorting through these problems. We don't seem to be demonstrating it very well right now, but I'm quite sure that when we go through these crises, as we are, the crisis of stagnating economic growth is massive for South Africa. You know, nobody seems to put it in red lights, but it's pretty serious. I'm confident that we have the people and the leadership that can actually take us out of this. We might not see it clearly now, but I do think we do have that.
Ray, it's been a privilege to read your book and to talk to you today.
Thank you.
And a wonderful contribution to the South African story. It gets past the narrative, gets past the opinions, and goes to the fact, and goes to explaining and lets us all understand what the consequences, often unintended, are of decisions that are taken so easily, it seems. Well, that was Ray Hartley, the author of Ragged Glory. The book will be on the shelves tomorrow.